evening. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Catrina Reese with Catrina Reese LLC, coming to you from Let's Talk Kingdom with Catrina, getting ready for our last session today. How are you guys doing? We are finishing up on coaching during COVID-19 with Coach Catrina Reese. This is session 3, meeting the need. So glad you guys decided to join me today. I am absolutely excited that you wanted to come in and to get just some more information, get some more tools in your coaching business to help you maneuver through this pandemic. Yes, yes, yes. I'm telling you, these are some things that I have, been putting, into practice myself in keeping a successful business. And I'm just, so excited that I'm able to share what I've learned with you. So as we go back, let me, first of all, want to say that I'm so glad that you joined in on the very first two sessions that we had going on. The first session was definitely coaching through COVID. I really wanted to, share some nuts and bolts with you about what I've been doing, about the different things that are out there that you can do during this pandemic as a coach to not only get more clients in, but also to keep yourself in an organized and in a good place. Because again, how many of you know, just going through, this that we're going through with COVID-19 and it affecting us, being able to literally be face to face, not only with our clients on an individual basis, but also with our clients in a group setting. So the first session was on January the 16th, and we talked about the different types of ways that you can meet the needs of your clients, whether you're doing it through Zoom, StreamYard, whatever platform you are using, definitely go ahead and do that. Get used to that. And also we talked about if you still want to do face-to-face sessions with your clients, then by all means, you do that. But you also put those precautions in place so you can do that. To keep yourself safe and also to keep your clients safe as well. So then the second session, we talked about fear versus focus. And a lot of things that I shared with you during that session was just being, acknowledging those fears that you have during this time, whether, your client base has dropped or you're not able to, just reach out to a particular audience or base of people that you normally would be able to do networking and all that kind of stuff that you could do if, we weren't on these restrictions with COVID. So we talked about that. We talked about getting yourself in position to market and also to set yourself up to be successful with using the different types of marketing tools that are out there. And I gave you some examples of some marketing tools that I use myself in order to, to stay busy and to stay connected. It could be social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. So we talked about that as well. And some other things that we talked about. So if you get an opportunity, please go to my YouTube page and you will see those first two sessions. So today I wanted to close out this particular Coaching During COVID series with meeting the need. And oh my gosh, I was on a Zoom call the other night with the local chapter of a women's entrepreneur organization. And when I tell you they are speaking the same language that I'm speaking to you today, telling you how you need to get yourself organized, how you need to get yourself in position, how you need to really, really start honing in on, just making sure that you are strategically in a good place when it comes to your business. And a lot of things they definitely talked about was making sure if, whether you're an LLC or whether you're a sole proprietor or whether, you're incorporation and and then they dug down and they gave us websites that you could go to make sure again that you are setting yourself up for success. And so when you are ready to meet the need of your clients, then you are strategically sound, your business is strategically sound so that you can push forward in doing what you need to do, not only to make money, but also to meet that ongoing need. Because with the pandemic, people are really struggling. I've seen it. I know it for myself. I'm working with, a bunch of clients right now that, are really struggling, whether it's struggling in their careers, whether it's struggling, in their businesses, whether they're struggling in their marriages, whether they're struggling just with themselves and being able to adapt to this new way of doing business and living. So the webinar was strategically on point and really just was bringing up things that I wanted to talk to you guys about as well. So one of the things when you're meeting the needs of your clients is, as a coach, you first of all need to make sure that your content, and we talked about that as well. Your content is what they're looking for. And let me say that again. We talked about this last week. The content that you give your clients is what it is, what we say when we want to meet their needs. So when I say content, let me use an example. So let's say content for me, because my business is first of all a coaching business and also a wedding business. So first of all, my content and meeting the needs of my client. So first of all, as a bride, that's my target. Though that's one of my target audiences that I'm reaching out to brides and grooms and other wedding planners and other people that are in the wedding industry. Those are my target audiences. So the content that I put out there, which could be pictures, which could be blogs, which could be articles talking about how I'm working through COVID and how I'm getting more clients and the different avenues of how I'm still able to thrive in my business. So we talked about that content thing, which is so very important. So one of the things that I want you guys to remember when you're meeting the need of your clients is to make sure that whatever their need is, the content or whatever your business is meets their needs. And I'm gonna give you an example. As a bride is looking for someone, maybe a wedding officiant that will be able to, conduct their, her and her the groom's ceremony in a way that they like and that they're pleased with, and they don't want some type of cookie cutter, ceremony that's just like someone, like the next person, where you're reading out of a book, and the same thing you say to them, you say to the next one. You're just plugging in their names. No, the need of a couple, especially when it comes to an officiant, is not only to marry them, but also to make them feel comfortable in, because when you're standing up there as a bride and a groom, and I've been there before, you're nervous, your knees are knocking, you want to make sure that you hear the pastor or the minister or the officiant so you can repeat the words. So you want somebody, when you're meeting the need of your clients, you first of all want to make them feel comfortable in with you, and that what you can help them with and what they're struggling with, they're confident enough in you to say, hey, that's who I want. I want that person because that person has, a calming voice, or they may, have the experience, or they may, you have been used to dealing with, vendors, or used to dealing with venues, or used to dealing with, family members that, so who are very, I would say I have a lot of some of my clients that say, oh, I've got family that, they're just wanting to run everything. Well, sometimes a bride is looking for someone outside of their family. There's nothing wrong with family wanting to help. I want to say that again. But sometimes a bride is looking for someone that's an impartial person that can come in and do the job, do it effectively, and don't, feelings will be hurt. And it can be done, and nobody is going to be upset, because, oh well, you didn't ask Aunt Susie to make, the cake for you, or you could have got Carol to do your programs, so when you're meeting the needs of your clients, you have to make sure that you're taking the stress off of them, and that you're giving them information, you're giving them tools, you're giving them everything that they need in order to make their life easy, to make their lives beneficial, to make their lives a blessing, to make it prosperous, whatever it is you're meeting that need for, and whatever niche it is. So as a coach, that's one thing that I always, tell my, when I'm mentoring coaches and other coaches, look at the needs of your client. That's what it's all about, meeting the need. And then if you've got the expertise and the knowledge and the know-how, and you consider yourself an um, expert in that field, then people are willing to pay for that knowledge. Trust me, they're willing to pay for that knowledge. You can't shortchange yourself, because again, during COVID, we think, oh, people are out of work and they can't pay me what I normally charge. And sometimes you do kind of have to, think about that and reevaluate what you're charging. But still, overall, if people want results and you can give them those results that they need, they're willing to pay for it. So think about meeting the need is definitely making sure that you give the client what they need, and in order to be successful, and to complete their task. As a time management coach, I'm very, conscious about making sure that I give my clients who really are not organized, who are overwhelmed with a lot of things, I give them the tools that they need to be successful in order to manage their time effectively, to manage their personal lives, their professional lives, their businesses, in order to do that in an effective way and not be all over the place. So definitely meeting the needs of your clients is definitely giving them what they need. And that's number one. That's very important when you're meeting the needs of, your clients, your target base. One of the other things is when you're meeting the need of your clients, you want to always, I would say, get their feedback, and which would be something that you would do at the end of working with them. But you would also need to do some type of assessment. So when you're meeting the needs of your clients, one of the things that you need to understand is, where are the problems that they're having? How can you solve those problems? Well, as a coach, the only way that you will know is, of course, you do sessions with them, do free consultations to kind of really dig down and see what the issues are and the problems that they're having, and then assess those things. See what is the most important thing that they really, really, really want to get done, to have solved in their lives. So always, one of the things I tell, my coaches, please Do an assessment of your client, because the only way you can meet the need of your client is you are to assess what the real problem is. And sometimes what they may say the problem is may be much deeper, and when that's much deeper, then you really need to evaluate how you're going to, handle, your sessions with them, and what information you're going to give them, and how you're going to work with them in order for them to be successful at the end of your sessions that you're meeting, when you're meeting with them. So customer satisfaction, I think, is always important when you're trying to meet the need of your clients. The end result, I believe, and this is one thing that I always do with my clients, at the end of my sessions with them, whether it's premarital sessions, whether it's marriage, counseling sessions, whether I'm working, one-on-one, with a coach that has just started with their business, as a business coach. One of the things that I always ask, whether I'm teaching, a time management class, one of the things that I always, ask at the end is, were you satisfied? So customer satisfaction, that is part of meeting the need of your client base. You have to find out, was the customer satisfied? That's meeting a need. When you've met their need, they tell you at the end, you know what, Miss Katrina, I started out here, but after, you worked with me and really challenged me, and I was able to do this and didn't think that I could. That is meeting the need of your client. Customer satisfaction. Always check with your customer to make sure that they're satisfied. Another way of meeting the need during uh, coaching during the pandemic or COVID-19 is, sometimes you have to do joint ventures. So you say, well, how is that meeting my need? How is that meeting my client's need? Well, think about this. Joint ventures. Let's say that as your niche, you may be a mindset coach, and you're working with the client, and the client says, during this time that I'm working with you, I really need to work on, my body, getting myself healthy, doing all those types of things. Well, first of all, we all know that whenever we are working on changing anything, whether it's our minds, our bodies, our spirits, whatever it is, as a coach, if that's something that's not your niche, then collaborate with someone that is good at health and wellness. And then that way you two can work together, collaborate, do a joint venture where you're meeting the need of your client, and you're doing one thing and they're doing another. So sometimes when you need to meet the need of not only yourself, in order to keep that client and for that client to be working with you, as you for you as a subject matter expert, and then shifting them to another coach. And you definitely want to talk about this, during your sessions with them. And if that's something that they agree to, then do a joint venture. You both, work with that potential client or that client to make sure you're meeting the needs mentally for them and spiritually. And then that health and wellness coach is meeting their, those needs as well. And then you keep them motivated and encouraged, because again, you're dealing with their mind. And then that health and wellness coach deals with the body part. And some health and wellness coaches, they do deal with the mindset change, and some of them don't. Some of them just say, I can help you as, giving you particular, foods to eat and getting you on a good regimen when it comes to how you cook. I can give you recipes, I can give you exercises, I can give you all that great stuff. But a lot of times, if they don't work with the mind, then that's where you can collaborate and do a joint venture where you both, can team up and work together, and you're meeting the needs of your client. So that's another great thing. And that's all a part of, professional development. As a coach, as a coach, I'm telling you this because this is what I do on the regular. I am always looking to better myself. And I think we've talked about this in both of our previous classes. Professional development as a coach is always meeting the need of your client. And you're saying, well, how is that? Because you're training yourself, you're expanding your mind, you're expanding your knowledge base. So when you continue to bring in more and more and more clients, and you become experienced in a certain thing, you want to grow. You want to, because the world is ever changing. We see that with COVID-19. We're coaching, during COVID. We're using Zoom, we're using StreamYard, we're using all kind of platforms, Facebook, all of these different platforms because we're not able to touch them physically, like we used to. And we still can do that. So remember, you still can do that. Just put yourself and you and your client in the same place. But still, always be trying to develop yourself. Always be wanting to learn new things that's out there. Always want to possibly go to some Zoom trainings to get better understanding of how to do the back end of Zoom, how you can record, how can you do, the background screenings, how you can set up webinars, how you can set up online classes through Zoom, through, these other platforms, how can you get paid doing this? A lot of people think, well, it's Zoom and, should it be free or should I charge or it's, StreamYard, these platforms now you are able to charge based on the knowledge base of what you're giving out. So always be looking to develop yourself as a coach. Professional development is meeting the needs of your clients because again, I want to use this as an example. So let's say that I'm a coach and I'm a health and wellness coach. Let's say that. And then there's another coach that's a health and wellness coach. And we're both doing the same things. And there's a lot of people out there that are doing the same things, but, they're putting a different spin on it. What's unique about you? And that's another thing we'll talk about when you're meeting the needs of your client. But so both of us are health and wellness coaches. And so let's say I may be good in helping you do this particular type of exercise, but that person isn't. So when a client is looking and they say, well, should I choose Katrina or should I choose Miss X? And so when they look at my portfolio and they look at her portfolio or his portfolio and they see the things that I offer, it's because not only have I done those by experience, but I've also said, you know what, I want to grow myself. I want to, really develop my craft. So as a coach, you should always be developing your craft. So when a potential client is looking for you, they'll say, you know what, she or he can do this versus what he and she, can do. So I think I'm going to go with this route. So personal and professional development, that should always be something that you want to do. That is meeting the need of your client, the professional development of yourself. Also, profit versus profitability. And you say, Miss Katrina, how is that meeting the need of, me or my client? Well, just think about this. Why did you get in this business? And this is my dog. You're going to hear him probably bark in a few minutes because he loves to bark. And so, come on, Kale. There you go, boy. So you're going to say, well, how is profit versus profitability meeting the need of, of myself or my client? Well, one of the things is, why did you get into this business? Did you get in it to make a profit, or did you get in it just to or to change someone's life, or to to make a difference in the world. So let me tell you what the difference between profit and profitability is. Of course, when you profit, you're going to make money. But a lot of times, as a coach or whatever business that you're in, the profit that you make, is that just a one-time thing? Are you just selling t-shirts for this one time? Have you started this t-shirt business because you're only going to do this, for a year, or 6 months to a year, and then after that it's gone, so that's profit. So you want to make profit. Okay, that's great. You want to be a coach, and I want to make a little bit of money off of what I'm doing. Great, because of my expertise and what I know. But profitability, check this out. This is going to really just change the way a lot of you think. Profitability is very, very important, because profitability means that now you are able, not only in your first year, to have a profit, but you've looked at the things that worked and what didn't work. So now, the next year that your business is open, you can either decide, I can't use that anymore, or I don't need to use that anymore because it wasn't making me any profit, or it wasn't giving me the gain that I needed. It wasn't giving me the results that I needed as a coach or whatever business you're in. And then you look at that, you reevaluate it, and then again you say, okay, so I'll change that. And then the more you change and fine tune your business, then you're going to be able to have the profitability on to sustain year after year after year. So that's different. Profit or profitability. Profitability means that you're going to be able to stand on that which you have been called to do, whether it's coaching, whatever your business is. And yes, you are going to make a profit, but year after year after year after year, you're going to see not only, you're going to have some up and down times. They say usually when you start a business, the first 5 years or first 7 years are really hard, because again, it's up, down, up, down, up, down. But think about it. Set yourself up and look at what you're doing and the things you need to do in order to have profitability in your business. Not just make a profit, but have profitability year after year after year. That's something that will change your mindset. Change your mindset about thinking, oh, am I going to make a profit doing this? Yeah, you will make money if you do it the right way. But you want to be in this business from the day you start until, you leave this world, or you pass it on to, your family. So profitability or profit. What do you want to do with your business? How are you meeting the need of you and your family and your family's family and, the generations to come? You want profitability, not just profit. Another thing we talked about, which was in the fear versus focus, we talked about our growing our customer base. And that's very important in meeting the need of your business and meeting the need of your clients. So let me give you an example of growing your customer base as a meeting the need of your client. So let's say I started a business. Now we'll use the wedding business. So let's say I started this wedding business, and everybody heard about me. I was out there marketing, whatever, word of mouth. People decided, oh, I heard Miss Catrina at a wedding, and I really would like her to do, my wedding. So word of mouth. People heard. So my client base began to build. So when your client base begins to build, the meeting the need for your client is you've got the experience, one, and when people see you in your comfort zone and doing what you love and your passion and your desire, they want to be connected with that. Do you get what I'm saying? So that is meeting the need of not only you, because somebody's heard you, You're getting more experience. And so your customer database is building more because either they've seen your content on wherever you're advertising or marketing, they're seeing your pictures. And so your customer base is building for your business. So that's not only meeting the need of your client because they're like, oh, he or she, they're very popular. They're very, knowledgeable. People, use them because they get the job done and they do it with efficiency. They do it with excellence. Whatever, the word of mouth is or what people are saying about your business, that's how your customer base can grow. And that's how that can not only meet the need for you, but meet the need for your client because they say, you know what? I can trust her. I can trust him because they work with numerous clients and they know what they're doing. There's a lot of times when people will hire you or they will say, you know what, can you do this for me? And if you really don't know what you're doing, you're not meeting the need of your client. You get what I'm saying? If you've if you've accepted an assignment on whatever it is, it could be on your job, it could be in church, it could be in a group, whatever. If you've accepted an assignment and you really don't know what you're doing, you're not only hurting yourself, and hurting the group that you're a part of and then you're not going to do what you've been told to do or the assignment that you've been given to do in excellence because you have no knowledge of that. So think about that. That is not meeting the need of your client. Again, I'm going to use an example. I'm not a health and wellness coach. I'm not certified in that. Do I know how to lose weight? Do I know how to eat healthy? Do I know how to help people, change their mind about, how, or what they think about or how they think about, eating and weight loss and lifestyle change or whatever the wording you want to use? Most definitely, but I'm not a subject matter expert in that. So that's not meeting the need of me and that's not meeting the need of my client. As a matter of fact, my client can probably go on YouTube and pull up or Google more things about how to lose weight than I could tell them because that's the same thing that I probably would do, But again, when you're meeting the need of your client and meeting the need of yourself and your business, you want to always make sure you stay in your lane. Are there times when you feel like, well, God, you know what? I do want to venture out in this. I do want to try to see if I can, if this is something that I have, the potential to do good at, Again, I could go out and I could get certified or I could go get a degree in health and wellness, but that's not my passion. That's not what I desire to do. So again, I'm not meeting the need of my clients. If I do that, because that's not a passion, that's not something that, I desire to do. I desire to do it for myself, but not for someone else, unless personally they ask me. So again, meeting the need of your client is always making sure that you do something that is a passion for you. Meeting the need for yourself is also making sure that whatever you do you're passionate about. And a lot of times we're passionate about things and we're able to meet the needs of people because that's something that we've experienced, and that's something that we know that we can make a difference in someone's life. So again, when you're trying to meet the need of your clients, you do that based on experience. You do that based on continued study and knowledge. You do that based on, am I doing this for profit or am I looking at this as a long-term profitability, venture? Is this something that I can join forces with someone and we can make a difference in the world by doing this together? And always remember that I want to change. I want to develop myself. I want to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do in order to be the best that I could be, not only for myself, but for my potential client and the clients that I work with. So meeting the need is very, very important that you understand why you're doing what you do. So, one of the things that I want to conclude with today, definitely that I wanted to kind of talk with you about is time managing when you're trying to meet the need of yourself, meeting your need in your business, let's per se, and meeting the need of your client. And time management is a big passion for me. As you all know, that's one of the main things and one of the main reasons why I feel like, as a coach, that's my niche. I really feel that, as well as weddings as well, because I love seeing couples, on that day, coming down to me, and of course, it's not just about that day, and I when I talk to them, I remind them, it's not just about today, but after today, what are you going to do with the rest of your life together? Now that you're one. But anyway, but as a time management coach, I always think about, you know, my clients and whether I meet their needs, when it comes to trying to really break down some barriers of how we have been taught how to manage our time. And there are some things that we grew up with that we were taught that were really good things. And then there are some things that we were taught, that weren't good. And what I mean that a lot of times when you're trying to meet the need, in your business, and you feel like, oh, I've heard this before, you're burning the candle on both ends. I'm starting this business. Well, is it a brick and mortar business, or is it, are you working out of your home? So all those things have to be taken into consideration. So you're putting so much time and energy into that business that you're neglecting your family, your health, your spirituality. So think about meeting when you need to meet the need for yourself, and when you need to meet the need of your client, you need to make sure that you're in a good space. You need to make sure that the knowledge base that you sat down and you really have honed into your craft. You know what you're doing. You're not overwhelming yourself. And if you've done that and you've learned how to fix that, then that's the thing that you can teach your client. Again, everything that I pass on, every piece of knowledge, every piece of tool, technique that I pass on to my clients, and I've used myself. Some things didn't work, some things did work. There may be something that may work for you that didn't work for me, but I still give you that option to do that. And then there was maybe something that, worked for me that may not work for you. So again, it's always a give and take. You always have to tell your clients when you're meeting their needs, you know, I know this worked for me, you know, and I'm going to tell you, if you work it, it will work. But if it doesn't, that's fine. We can always make a shift. We can always make an adjustment. Don't be so rigorous in your approach to meeting the needs of your clients, that you say, what, you do this or else. Now there are, again, I'm going to use this as an example. There are some health and wellness coaches that believe there's certain techniques that you use, and when you're cooking your food or when you're doing certain exercises that will, that you lose the weight, that you'll get healthier, that you'll see results. And so those things, may work for Johnny, but they may not work for Joe. So again, you always have to, as a coach, when you're trying to meet the need of your clients, you always have to be willing to be flexible, to make the shift. But if you know something works and you worked it, you give that option to your client. You tell them, you said, you know what, this worked for me, and let's try it first. And if it doesn't work, then let's try something else. So those are the things that you have to take into consideration when you're trying to meet the needs of your clients. Another thing when you're trying to meet the needs of your clients, and we talked about this before, we talked about finding out, assessing what their true needs are. And then we talked about, why are you doing this? Are you doing it for profit or profitability? This customer satisfaction, joint ventures, personal development. But again, another thing is making sure when you're trying to meet the needs of your clients that you don't babysit them. And that's a hard thing, as a coach, as if you're a counselor, if you're a psychologist, whatever you're doing, when you're working with people, because everybody's personality is definitely different. When you're working with people, you have to remember that, you have to find out their trigger points and what will motivate them and what will shut them down. So as a coach, make sure that you're understanding that, first of all, I'm going to be flexible, but I'm also not going to babysit you. You got to put the work in. You've got to make sure that if you want this to work, you got to work it. But don't come to me and say, Miss Katrina, it didn't work. Well, did you do A, B, C, and D? Did you do those things in that order? And you say, well, yeah, but I got hung up on this. Well, let's talk about what you got hung up on, and let's see where we can do some changing or some adjusting. So always, as a coach, be flexible, but don't baby. Don't baby. So coaching through COVID, coaching, during COVID-19, especially when you're doing this, via Zoom or StreamYard or, whatever free conference call, whatever your platform, Facebook Live, whatever platform that you're using, always make sure that, you're meeting their need and making sure that, say, look, we're on this. I'm not with you and I can't shake you or I'm not looking at you on a day-to-day basis, because if we're meeting and they're coming into the office, you're not seeing them on a regular basis, but you're trusting that they're doing what they're supposed to do when it comes to making the change in their lives. So again, give them the compassion that they need, give them the empathy that they need, but don't baby them. Do not baby, And if you've got someone that just really and truly isn't, doing what they need to do in order to be successful, you reevaluate, it could be, maybe your approach, when you're meeting the need of some clients. I've had, several, business coaches and mentors that I work with. And I've even had my colleagues tell me, I tried to work with this particular person, and they, I just couldn't work with them. They weren't giving me what I needed. Sometimes you need to just have A, B, C written out, and you need to go with me step by step by step. If that's what you need, say what you need. So that's one of the things as a coach, when you're meeting the need of your client, really evaluate their learning styles. You must evaluate their learning styles, because some people, they learn very quickly, just by reading. Some people learn by doing. And when you realize that, they can learn by doing, then make sure if you pass the information on to them, whether it's through a document or it's through a video or it's doing your one-on-one, well, you're working with them and you're sharing your screen or whatever, make sure you understand what their need is, what their learning styles are. So when you're meeting their needs, you don't be so hard on them, but you don't understand what their learning curve is. And then if you guys aren't a good fit, recognize that, reevaluate what you're doing and say, you know what, we're just not a good fit together, but I do have someone that I can recommend you to. Definitely do that. Don't always leave your client just out there unless they're just somebody that, I just can't work with you. You don't listen, you don't do any of the things that I've told you to do, so you be upfront, as a coach, be upfront with what your expectations are with your clients. Again, let me say that again. Always be upfront with your expectations with your clients, whether you have it in writing, whether you're doing a verbal contract or whatever. You know, there are always expectations, and the end result is, am I going to, if you're working with a health and wellness coach, am I going to lose the weight? Am I going to be healthier? If you're working with a mindset coach, have I really changed my thought processes? You know, do I think this way now, and at the end of the session, or at the end of the, this training or whatever it is, do I still think the same way? That means that something in between that you're doing, you haven't put all the pieces together, or you haven't done everything that you need to do in order, to get the results that you need. So that's very, very important as a coach. Meeting the needs of your clients and meeting the needs of you is making sure that, their learning processes, their learning styles, always, and you do that through the assessment, with them. Ask them, always ask. As a coach, when you're trying to meet the need of your client and even meeting the needs of yourself, ask questions. And sometimes, it may not be given during your assessment time. So always remember that, you can tell when a client or a potential client isn't being honest or isn't giving you all of the information that you need. But if this is what you love, if this is your passion, you know how to break that barrier. You know how to get past that in order to help them. Because the thing is, you need to tell them, I want to see you succeed. That's the bottom line. What I'm giving you, what I'm helping you with as a business coach, as your personal development coach, as your accountability coach, whatever you're doing, as whatever that business is, whatever you're doing to meet the need of that client, I want you to be successful. I want you to get the results that you need. And that's really the bottom line. When you're meeting the need of your client and meeting the need for yourself, you want to make sure that what you taught them and what you've shown them and what you've given them, the end result is they met that need. And if they met that need and if they were successful, then that lets you know that you're successful in what you're doing and what you're passionate about and what you love to do. So that's what I wanted to kind of come on and talk to you guys about today. Meeting the need. It's very, very hard to meet the needs of your clients. During coaching, during COVID-19, when again you're not able to really work with them like you want to in a more personal environment. And again, this all started because I was on a webinar with Ona Brown, and one of the coaches said, Ona, do you know, or do you have any idea when are we going to be able to really get back out there and work with our current clients or our potential clients? Do you see this pandemic, you know, letting up anytime soon where we can really, 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 get back and, you know, uh, do what we love doing? And again, the answer that she gave is, I have no idea, but you need to be willing to tell your story and be flexible and know your craft. A lot of times as a coach, when you're meeting the need of your client, you got to make sure you're licensed correctly. Let me say that again. When you need to meet the needs of your client, not only for your business, but for your client, you need to make sure that you're licensed correctly. Well, how do I do that? Well, first of all, whatever type of business that you're going in, you need to make sure that you check with the state to make sure that your licensing that you have is correct, whether you need to have certification, whether you need to have insurance, whether you need to have the proper documents. So again, when that client comes to you, you have everything in place, your financial records, when you get ready to file your taxes, at the fiscal year or at the end of the year, that's meeting the need of not only you, but that's meeting the need of your client. because that's making them aware that, you know what, I got my stuff together. I know what I'm doing in order to be successful. So, as a business coach, how can I tell someone that this is what you need to have and that's what you need to have, and you need to have your EIN number, and you need to check with the state, to find out what certifications and what licensing you need to have, what insurance you need to have to run your business? How can I tell a potential or a current business, person or entrepreneur that's trying to start their business when I don't have that myself? Do I have my LLC, my articles of organization? You can rest assured I do. I'll show it to you. Do I have insurance to cover myself if I'm going to a venue and anything happens? You can rest assured I've got insurance, so I'm covered. Do I have the proper documentation so when I marry someone, it's legal? You can rest assured. I have my ordination license and I have my ministry license. So again, you have to make sure that when you're meeting the need of your client and you're meeting the need of yourself for yourself, that you have those things in order as well. Are you good at administration? A lot of people aren't good at administration. A lot of people aren't good with, technology. A lot of people aren't good with, a lot of different things you may not be good with. Then get connected with someone that is. Have a team. When you're meeting the need of your client, make sure you have a team. Excuse me. Excuse me. So make sure you have a team in place. Well, we're closing out this session because I'm about to lose my voice. But I want to thank you for listening in. We've got a bunch of people that have joined on. And thank you so, so much. So make sure that when you're meeting the need of your client, you're doing each and everything you need to do to position yourself that you're successful as you're coaching during COVID-19. Thank you so much for deciding to tune in. Remember, this will be broadcast out on Sensational Sounds Radio. So I look forward to you saying, Miss Catrina, I heard you on Sensational Sounds Radio, which is out of Roanoke, Virginia, on Mondays at 5 p.m. So all of our broadcasts and are going to be rebroadcast on Sensational Sounds Radio. So thank you for tuning in to that, as well as go to our YouTube page because we're also on YouTube. So you can always go back and listen to a previous session, take notes, and if you've have any additional questions for me or would like me to mentor you or coach you or just give you some great information and tidbits, follow me on all of my social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm also on LinkedIn. And again, my heart's desire is that as you, as a coach, be successful, as you, as a person that may not be a coach, but just have some things that you want to change about what you're doing and just be a better person, or, you could be ready to write that book, or you could be ready to start that business, or you could be ready to, go back to school, just those things that you've had a fear about doing so many times. Now say, you know what, I'm going to do it. This is the time. This is the time. Coaching during COVID has been one of the most beneficial things for me. Has it been a strain? By all means. I'm going to be honest. I've had to really reevaluate how I do a lot of things. Did I lose some business when it came to weddings? I wouldn't say I lost business, but I will say my business shifted. And you'll say, well, what do you mean, Miss Katrina, that your business shifted? Some of my brides really had to reschedule a lot of their weddings because the venues either shut them down, um, or either told them, we're having to push you out, or we can only have a small, you only can have, a few people. So that has been challenging, in the wedding industry. And I've had a lot of my colleagues in the wedding industry that really and truly have suffered, because of the type of business that they do. They could be a photographer, or they could be a venue, or they could be a wedding planner, or they could, you know, make gowns, or they could be, decorators, or florists, whatever they are, cake bakers. So a lot of people have suffered and have had to find different ways in order to keep their business thriving. But if that's the case, you can do it as a coach. Coaching during COVID has been, I would say again, challenging, but it's been the best thing because I've had to learn how to do new things, how to be on Zoom, you know, have to have online, one-on-one sessions with my couples and, with, my clients. Have I had to meet some clients face to face? Oh, most definitely. But guess what? Your girl had her mask on. Yes, 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 most definitely. I'm always, always making sure and I'm protected. And then you can see from my content, sometimes you'll see that I've shown pictures of me with my mask on. So again, this has been a wonderful opportunity for me to share just some nuggets and tidbits with you. As a, if you're a coach, if you're a potential coach, if you've been a coach for a number of years, I hope some of the information that I've shared with you in these 3 sessions have been really helpful and have challenged you, to look at, your business differently, and has have challenged you to even, step it up a little bit. Again, one of the biggest things that I have learned, during this is I want my business to be profitable. I just don't want to make a profit out of what I'm doing. I want my business to be sustainable, for years to come. And with that, you have to remember you've got to meet the need of your client. That's why you do what you do, right? Because what you know as a subject matter expert, I know what I'm doing. So, again, thank you so much for listening in. If you would like, again, to reach out to me, by all means, you can reach me on social media. My email address is hello@katrinareese.com. That's hello at CatrinaReese.com, or you can go to www.katrinareese.com. I would love to hear your questions and your comments. I would love to know if this has been beneficial for you. Again, this will be rebroadcast out on Sensational Sounds Radio, which my show airs Let's Talk Kingdom with Katrina every Monday at 5 p.m. And also, you can go on my YouTube page and you can always, always re listen to the nuggets and tidbits that I've given you. And please subscribe. And if you know someone that would be blessed by what the information that I've shared with you today, please share it with them as well. So subscribe to my YouTube, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, follow me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear your comments. And if you've got any questions, reach out to me. So we are closing out, and I want to thank you again. Let's Talk Kingdom is the platform that I love to use when it comes to sharing information with you. And as always, just know that I love you and God does too. So again, remember, meeting the needs of your clients, fear versus focus. You can do this. Coaching during COVID-19. God bless you, everyone. Have a great day.